You'll be humble. Okay, if you want to follow along, we're on page 209. In this section of Shaar Habitachon, we have been discussing why isn't Olam Haba mentioned in the Torah? Why not? So we are on reason 5. So if you want to hear reasons 1 to 4, see previous pages or previous shiurim. Umehem ki ha'maisa hatov mischalek l'shnei chalakim. When a person does a good deed, it is separated into 2 parts. Mimenu nistor ein mashkef alav zilot sabayrik. Part of a deed, sometimes deeds that are done, mitzvahs that are done, they are internal, and the only one who could see us doing them is Hashem. For example, loving Hashem, fearing Hashem, all of those things, that's totally eternal. Nobody else can see it. Kichovat halavavos. Now name drop of the Sefer, like duties of the heart. Vadomalahem, similar things. Mimenu nir alevarm. There are certain mitzvahs that people see. They are not hidden from other people. For example, we all just put on tefillin. I could see everyone else putting on tefillin. You could see me putting on tefillin. Vehema mitzvos hanira aleivarim. He says that the Torah only writes a reward for mitzvos that are apparent, that other people can see. But for the internal mitzvos that only Hashem could see, that reward gets in Olam Haba. So we don't write the reward from Olam Haba because that's all right. Some of the mitzvos which are internal, there's a reward in Olam Haba, but it's not all the mitzvos are going to get rewarded in Olam Haba. Meaning the internal mitzvos only get rewarded in Olam Haba. Now it's important to point out that even the external mitzvos have an internal component. Right, the kavana that one has, how much kavana? There's a million levels of kavana that a person can have when he does mitzvos. The way I daven and the way my Rabbi Rav Aaron Feldman davens is no comparison. His davening is much greater than mine. The only person, you look at both of us, we look the same. We're both like chuckling and praying, but only Hashem knows that his davening is. I mean, everyone knows, but Hashem knows to the level that one person's inner performance of mitzvos is greater than another. So all of that reward is in Olam Haba. V'alkein zichru David. V'alkein zichru David of Hashalom b'mila shemora el inyan. He used the word when he's talking about this topic. K'moshe Amar, like it says. What goodness have you hidden for those that fear you? It's talking about fear of Hashem. Fear of Hashem is an internal thing. I can't tell how much fear of Hashem one person has another by looking at them. That is all internal. Same thing with reward and punishment. The averos that are done internally, those get punished in the next world. Proof for this. If he says, if you look at the Tochacha, the rebuke that if we don't keep the mitzvos, we'll get punished in this world, and he says that's talking about mitzvos that are done in this that people could see. Right? The whole Tochacha is you don't do these mitzvos which people can see, then the Jewish people will not have a lot of food. There's going to be wars. People will die, pestilence, etc., etc. V'chein arv lahem alav eretz haniras hagluyos onesh nira maher b'olam hazeh lefi she'ein laham onam elama shenira me'amaisim lo ma shenister. Says the reason for this is because people can only tell when you're getting averas that are done in this world. People can't tell the averas that are done in a hidden way. People can only see averas that are done openly. Right? A person can tell if there's murder going on, but he can't tell so much if there's a lack of Yirah Shamayim and a lack of loving Hashem in people's hearts. So the punishment that is obvious, meaning, oh look, there's no crops, we're having wars, bad things are happening, that happens for the mitzvos, the averos that people can see happen. Oh, we're having war, we're not having bad crops. Well, look, we were murdering and stealing from each other. That good stuff wasn't going on. That's what the pasuk says in Dvarim, that hidden things are for Hashem and the revealed things are for us forever. And the pasuk says, there was such a thing called Molech. Molech was where a father, if he wanted to, he could bring his son and sacrifice him to the god of Molech if he wasn't behaving, even if he was behaving. So luckily we don't have people doing that anymore, sacrificing their children to Molech. But the fact, I always, a little off topic, but I think it's very interesting. The fact that the Torah had to write this, I mean, people did this. This is like very well recorded that there was human sacrifice. Like if everyone else was sacrificing their kids to Molech and like you didn't want to do it, you were like a weirdo. You were like really? It's like kind of like you don't drive to shul on Shabbos. Like you don't sacrifice your son to Molech. Like what's wrong with you? Like we're not going to talk to you in shul anymore. Like Anyway, but if someone did that, you have to kill him if he sacrificed his son to Molech. V'samti ani es panai ba'ishahu u'mishpachto. But he says that Hashem says if the Jewish people don't do that, don't kill somebody who sacrificed their son to Molech, then Hashem will take care of it. I.e., that you see from here that a person sacrifices a kid to Molech, that's an open sin. He's like a huge fire and he's like throwing his kid in there. That is an Aveira which everyone can see. So that's something that the Jewish people have to take care of. You have to punish people for open Aveiras, right, in this world. That's what he's bringing the proof here. And if the people don't do it, then Hashem is going to punish the person. However, the internal mitzvos get rewarded in this world and the next. So therefore the Torah doesn't write the reward for Olam Haba because not everything is visible to people. The internal mitzvos are not visible. And we're saying also that even the external mitzvos, there's a million levels of intent that a person could have. Two people all of us put on tefillin this morning, but each one of us had a different intent when we did it. Perhaps some of us didn't even think about what we were doing and just put on tefillin, right? That's the basic thing. The basic thing is you have to know what you're doing, mitzvah srichos kavana. But then they have, perhaps some at the table have learned Kabbalah and they were having certain Kabbalistic intents of how the tefillin are going to do different things. Make sure when you go to yeshiva you don't share those Kabbalistic intents with other people, okay? Because it's only for... Okay. Let's finish this a little more, and then we'll be done with this section, like a page and a half. Now, the sixth reason why the Torah does not record reward in the next world. The sixth reason is that you want to encourage people to do mitzvahs. So even if people believe in Olam Haba, right in front of us now is Olam Hazeh. We're in this world, practically, right? Even if we could understand that there's a next world and we're going to be punished and this and that, it's not as effectual as telling someone like, yeah, you're going to get rewarded and punishment like right now in this world. It's more real for us. Something that's in front of us is more real. When you get to be a very, very holy person, then Olam Haba is just as real to you for Olam Hazeh. But the common folk, you tell someone who's going to get punished in this world by losing his business and being cast out from his country, that's much more effectual than just saying, like, you're not going to get Olam Haba. Like, okay, I believe in Olam Haba, that's like a very vague thing. He says, however, when it comes to Yoshua ben Yotzedek, he was a very holy individual, so then he brings a pasuk that he was going to get punished in Olam Haba because he could relate to it. So that's the sixth reason. The sixth reason is that people relate much more to this world. And we'll just finish with the seventh reason, and seventh and final reason why the Torah doesn't record Olam Haba. Umehem, shegmul Olam Haba ein tachliso el didalik ve'elokim u'liskarev kol oro ha'elyon. The whole point of Olam Haba, the next world, is to cling to Hashem and to see the lofty light. U'kamoshe kasav, it says, v'halach lefanav tzidkecha kavod Hashem yasvecha, v'amar, it says, v'hamaskilim yazhiru kazor rikiya, V'amar le'or be'or chaim v'lo yeh elav elamisha ratza bo v'ratzona bo shorish hagmul. Only people that Hashem wants to be there will get there. K'moshe kasav, like it says, ki rega v'apo chaim bir tzona. For his anger endures but a moment, life results from his favor. V'amar v'harshim b'chol kosei remazim shemorim ala ratzon me'elokim v'hum Hashem. Now he says here actually, Olam Haba. What do we say? Olam Haba in the next world. What is that reward? It's a spiritual pleasure of being close to Hashem. So he actually writes that this is hinted to in the Torah. This is what it says. When you do the mitzvahs, Hashem will not be repulsed by us. It means He'll love us. I will turn to them. I'll be for them a God. And you'll be for me a people. So you see, actually, the Torah does write about Olam Haba. Since Olam Haba is a closeness to God, the Torah many times writes that if you do mitzvahs and follow Hashem, you will be close to Him. He writes here on the bottom a very interesting point. Usually the nature of the human being is that anything we do, it's exciting at first, and then it gets boring. I get used to it. So you might think in Olam Haba, you get close to Hashem, at the beginning it's going to be amazing, but I'm used to it, Beginning of Yom Kippur, you're like pumped up, but by the end of Yom Kippur, like, okay, time to go. He says in Olam Haba, he brings from the Mayam Loyes, it's not going to be like that. We're going to have that constant feeling of hischachus, of newness, of excitement, of being closer to Hashem, and it's only going to grow and grow and grow. So that was the seventh and final reason. And then next time, B'li Neder, because we have Shabbos next week, we'll move on to a different topic about Habitachon, the reward for mitzvos.